Hey guys, thanks for checking out Power Play Picks. We're going to jump right into the recap from October 13th. Didn't have a great night, kept up our losing streak from the previous night. So, our first bet, we had Montreal money line and the Montreal spread. Final score of this game was 2-1 Toronto, so we went 1-1 on that bet. We did have Toronto scoring more goals, but based on the line, we definitely had value on Montreal. Second bet, we had New York Rangers to beat Washington. If you watched my last video, you'll see that I was expecting Shesterkin to play. They ended up starting Georgiev, so I probably wouldn't have made this bet, but that's on me. That's what happens when you assume. With Shesterkin in net, the final goals for would have been in New York Rangers' favor. With Georgiev in, it was equal at 2.63, so that was a coin flip game, just like the line had it. Next game, we had Chicago, Colorado. In the breakdown video, I said that Chicago is not completely out of it. Fleury in net, Taves is back, Seth Jones on defense, and they lost 4-2. Definitely going to be a different scene for Fleury compared to playing with Vegas, who are a much better team than Chicago. My bet here was Chicago money line and their puck line. Both didn't hit. Next bet, we had Edmonton puck line, and I did have them. They ended up winning 3-2. I did have them scoring more goals, but this ended up being a tight one. Went to a shootout, so lost that bet as well. And the last game in the breakdown, I went over how Anaheim had more high danger chances, and we also had them just slightly scoring more goals than Winnipeg. So the problem with this game was if Hellebuck doesn't play well, then Anaheim was definitely a live dog. Given the goalie stats, I did take Winnipeg here to win, and we lost that bet as well. Anaheim came out solid. Not sure if they'll continue that play, but their offense is looking better with some of the rookies there. So all in all, went 1-6. So very poor night, but that's all you can do. It's early in the season. Going into October 14th, we have 9 games. So as always, we're going to break down, of course, the expected goals, scoring chances, high danger chances, and the goalie data. Arizona, Columbus. We know Arizona most likely going to be a dumpster fire this year. Traded off a lot of good players, brought in a lot of bad players, picked up a lot of draft picks. So looks like they're tanking for the Shane Wright sweepstakes. As we can see here, Columbus slight advantage in Corsi. We have them scoring more goals, more scoring chances, more high danger chances, and huge mismatch in net. We had Hutton versus Merzlikins. Merzlikins, huge advantage in expected goals against, and way better in goals saved above average. All of that brings us to significant advantage for Columbus. So hard to like Arizona here. Most likely Columbus will take that. Second game, Dallas and New York Rangers. So Dallas on the road, coming in after a terrible season last year, a lot of adversity. Still a really good team. Sagan's back. So we do have Dallas with slight advantage in Corsi, slight advantage for Rangers in expected goals, and the advantage for Dallas in scoring chances and high danger chances. In net, pretty even between Holtby and Shesterkin in the expected goals against. Main difference here is Shesterkin is way better in goals saved above average. That being said, Holtby played with Vancouver last year. Vancouver was terrible defensively. Prior to that, he was on Washington, who are known as, high octane offense, not as much defense. Dallas, on the other hand, is more defense than offense, so it's going to be interesting to see how Holtby does in this situation. He had a great preseason and looks like he took the number one job over Hudobin. So definitely, I don't think we can look at this goal saved above average and say, Holtby is definitely going to be as bad as he was last year. Close game for sure. Now, if we look at including this data, looks like a significant advantage for Rangers, but I wouldn't count Dallas out. Montreal, Buffalo, this is a really weird game based on the line. I mean, Buffalo looks like they're going to be the worst team in the league between them and Arizona, I guess. But the line, Montreal negative 145, Buffalo plus 125 seems like a trap line. I figured, they'd have Montreal around negative 200. Looking at their stats, Montreal, significant advantage, or fairly significant, in Corsi. We do have Montreal scoring more goals and more scoring chances. However, Buffalo looks like they're going to have the advantage in high danger chances. In net, we have Montembeault, who is just not very good at all. Allen played last game, so it looks like they're giving Montembeault the easy start, supposedly, against Buffalo. Craig Anderson in net for Buffalo, and surprisingly, with his home stats, his goal saved above average is in plus. So I guess that's where they're getting the line from, is the goalie matchup. Montembeault negative 0.49 goals saved above average, so he's just not that good. And when we get to our final expected goals for, we actually have Buffalo winning this game. We'll see if that happens. Next game, Islanders, Carolina. This looks like it could be a barn burner. Carolina, even with the few changes that they made, they're still just a really good offense on paper here. Significant advantage in Corsi 4. The advantage in expected goals, scoring chances, and high danger chances. We'll see here that the game gets closer with the goaltending matchup. Sorokin and Anderson, fairly similar expected goals against, but Sorokin with the huge advantage in goals saved above average. That being said, Anderson coming over to a new team, he gets a fresh start. He was with the Leafs before. You could say Toronto and Carolina are fairly similar in their style of play, so it might not be that much difference. When we get over to our finals goal for, looks like New York Islanders will win this game. That being said, Carolina, we can't count out that offense, the amount of chances they generate, and they're deep throughout, so we'll see what happens. Definitely a tough game to bet on. Pittsburgh, Florida. Florida looking really good on paper. You got to think they'll win this game. They do have these advantage in Corsi, expected goals, scoring chances, and high danger chances. Pittsburgh going with DeSmith. Florida with Bobrovsky. Both allowing over 2.5 goals and both in the negative in goals saved above average. So we know that Bobrovsky had a bad year last year. Driedger was the better goalie for them. So Pittsburgh definitely live here. Not that confident in Smith, but Pittsburgh's not out of it. They beat Tampa the other night, so they're definitely hungry. They get Gensel back, so that's basically their best goal scorer. When we get to the final goals for, it's a tight game. We do have Florida winning, but Pittsburgh very close. Next game, Toronto and Ottawa. We know the history between these two teams, even though we know Ottawa is the worst, the less better team. For some reason, they have Toronto's number, so definitely can't count them out just based on history alone. And Ottawa's made improvements. Toronto's obviously a solid team. Toronto's going to have the advantage in Corsi, goals for, scoring chances, and high danger chances. Interesting here, Mrazek is going to get the start, and Forsberg in for Ottawa. I was surprised when I saw Forsberg's stats that he was actually above average in goals saved, and Mrazek on the road is night and day compared to when he's playing at home. So definitely a close matchup here with that final goal, expected goals for. We actually have Ottawa with the advantage here. Ottawa definitely a live dog, especially on home ice. Next game, Tampa Bay, Detroit. Tampa Bay coming off a blowout loss to Pittsburgh. Very surprised with that one. They're obviously going to have the advantage in all these categories. However, expected goals for is pretty close. And when we look at the goaltending matchup, very tight. So might not be a blowout for Tampa. We'll see if they can get over this cup hangover when we get to the final goals for. We have Tampa Bay winning, but it's very tight. Next game, Seattle, Nashville. Seattle lost to Vegas 4-3, so they definitely have pretty solid group there, to keep it competitive with Vegas. When we look at Corsi, slight advantage for Nashville. Expected goals for do favor Seattle. It's a close game. Scoring chances and high danger chances for Nashville. Goalie matchup, pretty close here. The big difference is Saros with a .77 goals saved above average. He's really good on home ice. Nashville, usually a defensive team. They do have a few changes on the back end. Ellis is gone, so we'll see how that works out for them. Given all those stats, we do expect Nashville to win this game. Thing is, when you're looking at goalie stats, when you have two goalies that are above average, either one could steal the game. So no guarantees. At the end of the day, you want to bet value on the line. Vegas, LA. We know how good of a team Vegas is. It's going to be an advantage for them across the board in all categories. Where it gets a little bit closer, Leonard and Peterson. Leonard on the road, 2.47 and .03 in goals saved above average. Peterson, on the other hand, he is expected to allow more goals, but he has the better goals saved above average. And when we get to the final data, we do have the advantage for Vegas, but once again, Los Angeles, the home underdog, they're not out of it. We've seen it already through the first 2 days of the season. We're seeing dogs winning, so it's a competitive league. Anybody can win at any time. So that's a quick breakdown of that slate. If you enjoy these breakdowns, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to try to get a video out every day. If you're interested in seeing what I'm betting, you can sign up to my channels. Just DM me. All my information will be in the description below. Thanks again, and good luck.